Oh, we're live. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our Sunday Prism show. It is my pleasure to be here with you guys. And this is John. Well, he's over there, actually. This is John Lee. So today, we've been talking a lot about what we're going to do with this show. And we wanted to do more with it for a lot of different reasons. We want to be able to share more of ourselves with you, and we want to expand on our message, and that message is hope, right? At the end of the day, if Breathe America is anything, it is hope for a better tomorrow, not only for ourselves personally, but it's also hope for our nation to be better tomorrow. And it's something that we all strive for constantly, is to be better every day. And so that being said, we decided we would talk a little bit more about that today, as well as maybe some other things. I'm not really sure where this conversation is going to go. It should be a pretty interesting one. So, John, tell me something. When you think about hope, where do you find the hope that keeps you going and staying positive and working towards things in your life?
Well, I'm a firm believer in the benefits of faith. And I believe that, especially in the Christian religion, we've been told a lot about how we're going to experience these times where it's tumultuous. We're going to experience these times where we see great suffering, where we see great darkness, where we see, violence and various things like that. And for me, I just keep on the tenet that all these things are temporary, because we go through shifts, and historically speaking, we go through shifts. Societies, they rise up, they get real rough, things get bad. There's usually some sort of an awakening, and then we pander out, we go to a better level. God, and of course, Jesus Christ, he was very clear about the fact that it wasn't always going to be easy for us. There's a lot in the Bible that talks about the various things that we need to watch out for. We talk about false shepherds. We talk about essentially feeding into the negative sides of your thought process and allowing that to go into your heart and that to affect your faith. I think the reason that we were given these guidebooks in the first place was because there were going to be times where faith was going to be hard to find, where it was going to be hard to find hope. It was going to be hard to find joy. It's going to be hard to find mercy and compassion and things. And I think to a greater extent, the Christian religion really relies on how you're supposed to react and how you're supposed to act in the worst of situations, not just when things are going great. So for me, hope ties irrevocably back into the faith. And what it comes down to is trusting that even if the details aren't always mapped out, that in general, God, the universe, society, civilization, humanity, there's a plan. There's a path that we're taking. So for me, when I see these like the things that's been going on in our country right now, where things are just rough, things are tough, hatred is high, people are all about judgment, and we're talking about the battling of forces of good and evil. That battle is most often fought internally, not externally. You fight good and evil, that battle right here in your heart, in your faith, by making sure that you do not become that which you hate. So when it comes down to it, when we talk about, for instance, Jesus often said, turn the other cheek. I know you've been told to hate your neighbor, but I ask you to love thy neighbor. The reason why is because these things are temporary. The mortal life, it's temporary. All of these things are temporary. Eternity is eternal. God is eternal. The universe is eternal. Even from a scientific point, they believe the universe is infinite, right? So we all agree that there is a much larger picture than what we're looking at right here. So hope always goes back to believing that there is a reason that we're going through these things, even if it's one that we don't understand, even if it's one that we don't agree with, because the universe moves in mysterious ways, as does my Lord. And so for me, that's where it comes back to. I try not to lose hope because it's the tenet of our faith.
Well, I agree with everything you said, bro. And faith is hope in a lot of ways. Um, we talk a lot about a lot of different things in Breathe America, whether it's politics, whether it's how to be a little bit better every day, whether it's maintaining that faith in humanity, whether it's maintaining that love for each other. Um, and ultimately, we're trying to build a community that will support each other, and stand with each other, regardless of your faith, your religion, your spirituality, your sexual orientation, the color of your skin, all these things that are constantly used to divide us. Um, Ultimately, what I believe to be the most important thing that we can do as human beings is to live by that golden rule and simply do unto others as you would have done unto yourself. When we treat people the way that we want to be treated, when we take the time to respond rather than react to the things that we see and the things that we're involved in, and we choose to react out of a place of love and understanding, what ultimately happens is we end up building relationships, right? Relationships like the one John and I have. You know, I didn't know John before Breathe America. We had never met. Um, Even though we live in the same valley. Our paths had never crossed. We had one mutual friend, and that's literally how we ended up here together. But what I have to say is, John and I don't agree on a lot of things. Like, we disagree, pretty firmly on a lot of things, and we have some pretty interesting discussions. But what's amazing is that we always come at it from a place of trying to understand each other and to help teach each other our perspectives. And I know he's changed my views on some things, and I'm pretty sure I've done the same for him. Um, and that ultimately builds a stronger connection between him and I. And then we can share that connection with others, right? We do it all the time on the page or on the group. But hope is a powerful thing, you guys. See, if you hang on to your faith and you believe that tomorrow can be better, if you're willing to strive for those things and you're willing to work towards those things and you're willing to do the things that help show that you still have faith for others, you guys, that is where real change happens. I'm a firm believer that change almost always comes from a deeply personal place. Like, we have to be willing to change ourselves first. We have to be willing to challenge what we know first. And by doing that, it opens the door to understanding others, right? And this is literally why hope, faith are just intermingled in a way that simply cannot be undone. There are things that happen in our world that there's no understanding. I got to experience one of those just the other day, and it's a challenging thing. But there's a reason that we don't know what God's plan is. There's a reason that we don't actually know what the purpose of all of this is. Because if we did, and then what are we here to learn? Like, where's the growth? And it's hard to make sense of tragedy. It's hard to make sense of these things that come up in our lives that challenge us on a deeply personal level. But I also have to realize that, like, when I got up this morning and I made a pot of coffee and I went outside early because I couldn't sleep well last night, and I watched the sun come up. That sun comes up every day. Every day is a new day. And every day we try to be better, right? Every day, and sure, sometimes life knocks us down. Sometimes it's really, really hard to pick ourselves back up. But ultimately, that's what we have to do. The world doesn't stop for us. It doesn't stop for our pain. It doesn't stop for our emotions. No, every single day that sun comes up. And to me, that is a beautiful thing. That is a beautiful thing that I find comforting. that tomorrow, no matter what happens today, that sun is going to rise. And I can choose to see that as a blessing, which I do every single day. Or I can choose to see that as something else, which I encourage you to find that as a blessing. Uh, so also today happens to be the day that Logan gets to have his birthday party. And I know that he is patiently waiting till 3 o'clock when a whole lot of festivities will fire off over on the East Coast for him. And I couldn't, as hard as yesterday was on me, there's too many things about today that are a blessing. There's too many things about today that I'm excited about. And it's such a weird thing to feel all the emotions, right? Like the sway of the tragedy that I was, that happened yesterday, and followed by the joy of being able to help this young man have the kind of birthday that he deserves. It's I don't know. Sometimes I have a hard time wrapping my mind around the ups and the downs, right? Like sometimes I struggle personally with, maintaining my thoughts and my emotions when I my desire to help people is one of the strongest things in me. And to be able to help Logan is amazing. To not be able to help that family hurts. And I don't know how to make this make sense in my own head a lot of times, but I choose to see that sun come up every day as hope.
It's a movie, Patrick. It's a movie. Think about movies. Okay. In movies, we have tragedy, we have horror, we have all these things that can happen and everything. But what do we always focus on? What do we always say makes a bad movie with lots of bad things good? A happy ending. That's the whole point. It doesn't erase all the things that happened in the movie that were horrific. It doesn't cancel out all the travesties. You can still feel sad for the things you've seen in the first parts of the movie and the half parts of the movie. But just like that old storybook style storytelling that goes on in movies, a small amount of light in encroaching darkness is still light. A little bit of flame in a very, very cold world will still warm you. That is what it really comes down to. These little flickers of things that reestablish our connection to the universe and reestablish our ideas of hope, our ideas of faith. It's okay to be sad for the tragedy that happened yesterday and happy for the blessings that you had today. It's not always about, constantly giving into one. We're complex creatures. We have various multiple emotional levels. We have multiple emotional and mental levels. So as we are such complex creatures, we are going to struggle with these things all the way. The important part is not giving in. It's not falling prey to that tragedy all the time. It's not allowing yourself to succumb completely to darkness. It's sometimes you have to create that little candlelight. Sometimes you have to create that little spark of flame. If you can't see it,
Sure.
if it's not there, we refer back to the golden rule, right? Do unto others as you would have done unto yourself. Therefore, sometimes you have to be the light yourself. Sometimes you have to be the beacon in darkness. And sometimes that sucks. I'm just going to be real with you. It's a tough situation. It's very hard to look around and see tragedy and death and sadness and anger and violence and everything else and go, I have to create love today. Because that's what we're missing. That's what we need. I know, because you, Patrick, you do it every single day. Morning thoughts. It doesn't matter what horrific things you watched on the news last night. It doesn't matter what's going on and everything. You get up every day and you go, I have to create a little love. I have to try a little love. Because it's not about the anger. It's not about always being right or pushing your platform or shutting down everything. It's not about false narratives. It's not about propaganda. It's not about the leftists or the right wings or anything else like that. It's about humanity. It's about the human condition. And the human condition is one that has to be constantly treated. It's both a sickness and a sign of virility and health, right? We cannot not create that light on a regular basis, or we will get lost to darkness. So sometimes you have to recognize a light. Sometimes you have to be the light. Sometimes you have to foster the light in others.
It's I've been in positions in my life where I didn't see it. I didn't see a light, and I saw nothing but darkness around me. I didn't see, and you're right. Sometimes you have to create it yourself. My commitment to all of you guys and my commitment to Breathe America means that I do get up every single day, and it's not. Look, I can tell you firsthand, like, my life's no different than any of yours, right? Like, I've got struggles, I've got things that I've got to deal with, I've got things that I'm working through, I've got teenage kids that I gotta parent and things. Like, there's a lot of things that while I share a lot, I don't share everything. But yeah, to choose to get up every day and to try to do something positive to help others, it's as much for you as it is for me. It's as much for my own self, my own mental health, my own well-being, that I get up and I share this thought, because I believe in it, right? I believe that our mindset is the key, that how we see ourselves ultimately is the key. Now, what's crazy to me is it is so much easier to talk to John when he's having a bad day and say, bro, none of that's real. Like, that's not the case. It is so easy to build up the people in the group. It's so easy to build you guys up. It's so easy to build John up. It's so easy to tell you guys that it's going to be okay. And it's something that comes very naturally to all of us. I see you guys do it. I see John do it. But where it's really, really difficult is when we have to build ourselves up. My morning thoughts are just as much about getting myself right every day as it is helping to inspire you guys. And I think that's the part that a lot of people have missed, because I have committed to this, and I'm committed to building the best life I can for myself, to take an active role in the way that I see the events that are happening around us, and an active role in how I interpret them to others. And I wanted to shine a light, that same light that you're talking about, not just for you guys to follow, but for me to follow. And I think that's thank you for bringing that up. I've never thought to share that, but there it is. That's the truth. Like, I'm not some special person that just has it all figured out at all. Like, I'm a struggling human being just like the rest of you, but I know that through love and understanding, we can do better. And I know that through my darkest times, it was that was literally striving to be just a little bit better every day, to get just a little bit better. And for me, it was a very physical thing, right? I was trying to learn to walk again. I was trying to learn to hold my weight up. I was trying to get my body to work the right way. But I was also doing it in my mind all at the same time without even realizing it, right? And that is what has ultimately led me to these beliefs that I have now, this understanding of the human condition that I have now, that, as long as we focus on what we can control, the things that we can't control no longer affect us.
You talk about how easy it is to build other people's up, and it's easy. It's easy. You just have to make the decision to do it. But you know what's even easier? Tearing people down. That's real easy. In fact, I would even call it lazy. It's something that can be done with little to no effort. It doesn't have to take a lot of personal sacrifice, doesn't have to take a lot of personal commitment. Shutting someone down that you think is wrong, telling them, to just quiet down, or tell them that they're less of a person because of what they believe in, or they're stupid or ignorant or things like that. That's easy. It's a lot harder to look at somebody you have no agreement with whatsoever, that for a fact everything they're saying is completely false, and try to reason with them and try to understand them and try to believe in the emotion where they're coming from. Because no matter what ideas are in that head, or no matter what they're struggling with or what their experience is, there's a human element at the center. There's a person who is emotional about something. There's a person who's been affected by something. There's a tale behind every argument. There is a reason that someone is disagreeing with you in a logical way. And the best way to do that is not to combat them on the actual disagreement, but to find out who they are, to try to expand that light in themselves. And when you reach out heart to heart and you say, hey, why do you feel this way? Where is this, or whatever else? You create a modicum of understanding, and you create this light in the darkness. Oh.
John muted himself. So
got a big truck driving by.
You know, it's funny, John, what you just said. If I was watching this right now and listening to what you just said about how easy it is to tear somebody down, and the fact that that's lazy, I'd be hitting that thumbs up and like button like crazy right there, simply because that is so true. So true. We literally have a choice every time in how we respond and how we react, right? And I'm constantly challenging you guys to respond and not react, to take our emotions out of the situation and react with our thoughts, with our mind, with our hearts, right? Now, when you do that, you build something. Now, when you react, a lot of times you react with these emotions that people trigger in us, and we give those people not only power over us, but then we immediately go down a negative road that actually tears down things and tears people down. Like, I can't even for the life of me understand on like social media and stuff like that, like where I see this constant defense and just berating anybody that sees things even a little bit different than you do, to where we're gonna call them names, we're gonna make fun of them, it's how does that help you? And ultimately, if you're one of those people that responds that way and you get some level of joy or pleasure out of tearing down other people, even if it's on the internet, you've got some serious problems that you're not talking about. And see, the human element, that's something that we lose a lot, like humanizing the other side, actually understanding that we are all people. We are all American people, right? And we can choose to tear each other down, which a lot of us do. A lot of people do. And like John said, it's lazy and it's irresponsible and it's ultimately detrimental to you. Because I can tell you from absolute...
Not to say that we're not guilty of it on occasion. Like, we have to constantly fight that. You know what I mean? We're not saying we're perfect and we're not guilty of that, because that is the case. I have been lazy on occasion. You know what I'm saying?
It's a choice I make all the time. I don't tear people down, right? And here's why. Because I've talked a lot about starting your day with gratitude, right? Do you know how much more you get out of being kind to people versus being an asshole? Right? Like, when you choose love and kindness first, and you choose to offer that olive branch, to offer that understanding, it doesn't mean that you agree with people. It doesn't mean that you're accepting their views as of reality as facts. That's not it at all. It's the right kind of person. It goes right back to that golden rule: do unto others as you would have done unto yourself. There have been times in my life where I have been challenged by people closest to me because I was being an ass. And you know what? They were right. And every time that happens, I have a choice. I can choose to continue to be an ass, or I can choose to be like, you know what? Thank you for having the courage and the strength to call me out when I'm in the wrong and help me to strive to be a better person, right? It's not that we're not going to have bad days. We all have them. But choosing to come with love and understanding with these people, in whether it's in Breathe America or whether it's in your personal life, whether it's other social media places, you're going to get a whole lot more out of it. You're going to feel better about you. And in that same process, not only are you helping build someone else up, which we already said is easy, you're also building yourself. And that is the ultimate goal, right? We want to be the best humans we can be.
You know, loving thy neighbor is something we talk about a lot in Christianity. No one said loving your neighbor was going to be easy. Okay. Sometimes it's very difficult. You know, the Lord says we forgive, but boy, howdy, does he make it tough sometimes, right? But nonetheless, that forgiveness, that love that you offer to the person that is in opposition to you or someone and everything else, it benefits you. It feeds your heart. It feeds your soul. You feel better about your life in general when you have a more positive internalized process. So, like a lot of these things, when I talk about it, is like, you know, especially with the Bible. Um, yes, thank you.
Thank
Anyone can find the dirt in someone. Be the one that finds the gold. I love that. Proverbs is full of wisdom like that. I love Proverbs because of that very thing. Um, yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be, you know, an uphill struggle, but you have to remember that you're investing in your own soul. You're reinvesting in your own heart. You're creating a stronger you, a person who's more impervious to the negativity, someone who is more impervious to being led astray by certain inflammatory words or things like that. You create a solidified base for your own morality and spirituality. And it really is. It ties into your mental health. It ties into your spiritual health. It ties into your life. You know what they say about the powers of attraction. You know, we have let's see, what is it? I think it's Matthew 7:7, something to that effect, where it says basically, asking you shall receive. If that isn't a perfect definition of saying what you put out, you can get back, I don't know what is, you know? And that ties in with the laws of attraction. That ties in with the people who believe in energy and metaphysical concepts. It ties into everything, societal beliefs. You know, you are going to get more with positivity. I can't tell you how many times, and I've seen you do the same thing, where we've waded in with to an argument with somebody where they're literally calling us every name in the book. They're completely hostile and everything else. And by getting them to explore that by saying, hey, tell me why you feel that way. Where does this come from? How does this go? You know, what are you trying to accomplish with this? Once you start getting that person talking and you see that human element, you realize you're not nearly in as much disagreement as you used to be. Most of the time when it comes down to, we agree on the same emotions, we agree on the same feelings, we just have different ideas of how to get there, right? We talk about that in politics all the time, you know, with this whole law enforcement thing, as far as, you know, abolish the police, defund the police, keep the police, back the blue, and everything else. At the very basis of it is, here's a person who feels unsafe because of police, here's a person who feels safe because of police. So if we can attack the emotion, and if we can go and actually speak to the heart, have the understanding of what they want, we don't have to agree with their methods, but we have a better chance of shaping those methods to be something that's mutually beneficial, because we understand that we have a shared destiny, that we have a shared feeling in this situation. You know, I can tell you right now, if people took that mindset, we probably wouldn't have cities on fire right now. If people took a little more time to understand where people are coming from.
Love and understanding, bro. At the end of the day, it is the only way to truly move forward in our country, as not just as citizens, but as human beings and as a nation. Um, it is the only way. You know, John and I have had many, many deep conversations about how to fix how to fix everything, right? And there's a million ideas out there, guys, and there's flaws in all of them. And you know, John is very intelligent. Mike is very. We've had some crazy conversations where, you know, we'll literally take conversation or like topics and we'll just poke holes in them and then we'll try to defend them after we know what the holes are. And it's like there's not a single idea out there except for one. Except there's only one idea that works every time that you can't find a hole in. and that is offering love and understanding, embracing the human element of it, building each other up. This is why it is the only way, because I mean, if anybody watching this can tell me how that won't help, please tell me, because it is the only it's the only idea that I've ever seen, that I've ever had, that literally you can't find fault in it. When you offer love and understanding to everyone equally, it doesn't matter what side you're on. It doesn't matter what your points of view are. When you just simply offer love and understanding to everyone across the board, you will get a much better result. Like John brought up the law of attraction, ask and you shall receive. You know, perfect example. The more love and understanding we as a family put out there, the more people we attract to our family, the more we grow, and the more we as a whole decide to continue to push love and understanding. Now, yeah, there are some tough issues we have to talk about, but if we come at it from love and understanding first we love each other, then we try to understand each other, then we can find a clear path forward that doesn't hurt anyone. And most of the time, what we have found is that we are a whole lot closer to each other than we realize. That is what I find all the time. But I can't see a flaw in this approach at all. I can't see any reason why this isn't the only way that will effectively make change. You can't turn around and say, well, the left is X, Y, and Z, or the right is X, Y, and Z. We can't sit here and point fingers. We can't sit here and tell each other that, you know, you're wrong and you're right. But we can't. If we do that, all we do is further divide our nation, and we further divide the people. We have American issues that need to be solved by Americans. And the best way to do that is to come together with love and understanding and embrace the fact that together, we the people together are stronger than we are if we allow ourselves to be divided. You know, divide and conquer is a term that comes to mind a lot when I think about American politics, and they continually divide us. They continually play this narrative in our minds. And one of the beautiful things about being a lifelong independent is I can be critical of both. And there's faults on both sides. So find me a way outside of love and understanding that we can make positive change in our nation that helps not only Americans, but also helps our nation. And I'd love to hear it. But for me, this is the only way that I have found so far to move us forward to where we need to be. And that is a united people. What are you reading, John?
I was reading, I have a feeling this is Dinatra. It may not be because it just says Facebook user on our thing. But she was talking about her plan. She says, know what we need to fix and make an action plan, help author a bill. You're 100% right. These kind of steps, Jacqueline, no, it was Facebook user. These kind of steps can be taken, but they have to start with this mutual understanding that we have a shared destiny and that we have a human element involved in this. The right, Shirley K, that's who it was. Shirley, sorry about that. But what we have to start with is this base understanding that just because you have this extremely strong opinion on things that is antithesis to mine does not make you un-American. It doesn't make you unhuman. It doesn't make you the force of evil. It doesn't make you, Satan himself. It means that we disagree. That's it. And to find that mutual understanding that says, hey, this human is no lesser than this human for disagreeing, for them having different perspectives and different ideas and everything. When we level that on a legislative field, when we go into these situations where we're actually talking about writing legal reform or addressing the way that people can protest, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, we have to go into that with the idea that everybody gets a seat at the table. Everybody gets a voice. Everybody has something to contribute, and they have a reason for where they are, what they're doing, and what they're thinking. Now, does this apply to every single person out there? If you're just going downtown with a flamethrower to hop in on the riots and just burn some stuff and everything else, and you're not really fighting for social change or equity or whatever, probably mutual understanding isn't going to directly combat that. But nonetheless, if we sat down and talked to a flamethrower guy and figured out why he was being a flamethrower guy, chances are we might be able to change his mind. Hey, this is not the best way to get it. Unfortunately, hopefully we do that in jail because crime is crime. I love understanding. I love mutual understanding, but we still have to have laws. We still have to have legal ramifications. You know what I mean?
Well, and what's interesting is inadvertently something came up that has been talked about a lot in the back end. As Breathe America grows, we have talked a lot about actually lobbying Congress, actually being able, once our voice is loud enough, this is something that I can see us doing. I don't necessarily know what laws we're going to go after. I don't know what we're actually going to be pushing for, but to use the system to our advantage. Like, look, I think lobbying is wrong, so maybe we lobby a bill to end lobbying. I don't know. I'm not sure what direction we go, but I know that if our voice gets loud enough, we can be heard. That's absolutely the case. And Shirley has an amazing perception or perspective on all of this. And I've had the opportunity to talk with her, and she's lived an incredible life that allows her perspective that I had never heard. And so, I want to thank you, Shirley, because you're amazing. But at the same time, we have to understand that as we come together, there are always going to be differences, and that's okay. When I look at the world and the variety that we see, it's very obvious that we're not all meant to be the same, right? We're meant to have different views. We're meant to have different lives. We're meant to have different perspectives. We're all learning our own thing. But the universal truth is, do unto others as you would have done unto you. And I personally like being treated with love and understanding. I like it when people are kind to me. I don't like it when people come at me aggressively. I don't like these, I deal with it differently than, say, John does. But it's still, I would rather people come at me from the same way that I want to come at them, which is offering that love and understanding. And how do we foster that in our conversations? I see it in a lot of the comment threads that happen here in Breathe America. People still are getting heated, still are getting feisty with each other, and that's okay. You know what? Sometimes understanding comes from that. I'm not here to stop you guys from having hard conversations. I'm here to encourage you. I'm here to ask you to be a little bit better every day. I'm not here to tell you how. That's your job to figure out. It's about taking that personal responsibility and deciding for ourselves that what being better every day means. Wait, what's going on?
Sorry, Jacqueline. I'd be so bored if everyone was the same as me. Who would I argue with? Same, Jacqueline. Same.
You are so right.
Let's argue over how right we are and how similar we actually are, depending on things. Like, no, I love a good debate. I'm the first one to weigh in. I'll debate anyone on anything, because I think that very few debates have sides that have no merits. Most of the time in a debate, especially a heated one, there is a portion of merit on each side of that. And that's why it's so heated. That's why it's a debate in the first place. So I think that us all just being bland robot people, all looking the same with our great clothes and our great ways and our great talk and our great businesses and our great things, that's horrific. But this is America. We are the country of the rebels. We are a country of smashing the status quo. We are a country that is like, oh, you don't think countries should be able to do that? Well, we'll do it, and we're going to do it well. Check this out. Like, I absolutely love the American mindset on a very base level, because it really is. It's kind of like my own personal policy of the 10th man policy, which, yes, I got from Jewish lore and also the movie World War Z. If 9 people agree on something 100%, it is my duty as the 10th man to come in and challenge that and make sure it's correct. That's what I love about America. America is the 10th man. We're the ones that are like, wait, you had it done this way for 300, 400, 500, 600, 3,000 years? that doesn't seem very free. What about these people over here? America, rebellion, societal rebellion.
What Toby says here, change from within. I agree completely. And to those that are calling for a violent revolt, overthrow, all that kind of stuff, you guys are not in the right mind frame. And I'm telling you, that is not the answer. There's a lot of historical proof that shows that peaceful change from within is long-term and long-lasting. And ultimately, it is what is best for the people. Violent overthrows do become necessary at some point in time, but we are not there, you guys. So yeah, change from within.
Still fix whatever you're angry about.
Right.
Whatever you're angry about, we can still fix it.
Right. I want to work with the system.
Have to say, Patrick, historically, we've also seen that when violent civil unrest happens, a swift, violent put down by the government does not stop it. In fact, it makes it much worse. The only option is actual discussion. The only option is compromise. The only option is going in and being like, look, you got to stop burning the world down. But in exchange, we're going to listen to what you have been protesting about since 2012 or whatever. It doesn't mean you have to give in to them, because that's not what this country is about. And that's not what any balanced society is about. But just so you know, historically, every time we put boots on the ground and sent our troops to quash a civil uprising, it has inevitably turned into rebellion, full-on revolution. So keep that in mind. It's both sides.
And that's not just us. That's throughout history as well. That's
absolutely.
Other nations as well, right? Like that's pretty much a really great way to lead to actual revolution, actual violent unrest in our streets, which we are seeing some of that now. There's a lot of really dangerous things happening right now in our country, and it's incredibly disheartening, because for me at least, like I've said 1,000 times, I swear, love and understanding is the answer. That is the answer. It is the only, exactly, Jacqueline. Violence begets violence. We are not going to solve our problems with violence. And I've said many a times that violence is never the answer until it's the only answer. And that, for me, happens when somebody comes to my door wishing to do me or my family harm. That's it, right? Like, I don't believe in taking up arms against our government or anything like that. I think that that's the wrong approach. We have a system that allows the people to affect change from within.
Now, I don't agree that in the current situation that we should take up arms against our government, because I believe 100% that we can fix this with the current governmental situation.
Right.
But I would not be an American if I did not state that there are times when the people must enforce the tyrannical opposition that they receive from the government. And sometimes that does mean militia up and showing them that we will not bend. Now, I don't believe that applies to what we're looking at right now. But I do want to say, as an American value, the government works for us. And occasionally when the employee gets out of line, especially when there's a constitution that reinforces that fact, and our forefathers said, don't let them get out of line, and made laws to make sure that we didn't do that. But I don't think we're there yet.
I 100% agree with you there. I do. There does come that time. Like I said, violence is never the answer until it's the only answer. But we're not there yet. We have a lot of options still ahead of us. But and honestly, I hope that we never have to see that. And I hope that we never have to see that time come in this country. I know there's a lot of people that feel that we are very, very close to that. And maybe we are. Maybe we're closer than I realize. I don't know. But I don't think we're that close yet. I think we've got a lot of work to still do. And I think that we can affect change through things like this that we're doing, where we're discussing these things, and we're having things, we're affecting change on a personal level that is going to literally be unstoppable at some point. And yes, Toby, you're right. You've got to stand for something. At some point, it comes time, right? I just don't think we're there yet. But I will say this: if the federal government were to walk in and shut down these cities over, the things that are going on and stuff like that, and try to put this down with more authority and more violence and things like that, we would be taking a big step forward towards that day. So
I don't know how I would feel watching United States military troops march on United States military or United States citizens. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of wiggle room there. There's a lot of things that go on, but
sure,
boots on the ground coming after Americans, I have a really hard time being okay with that no matter what.
I can answer it this way: by the people, for the people.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to choose the people every single time. I'm going to choose all of you, and that is ultimately where we have to stand together, right? This is why coming together is so important. If that day were to ever come, we'd all have to take a serious look at what we believe in and what we're willing to do about it. And I hope that day never comes. But I don't want to ask myself that question. I don't want to think about those things. I want to stick with love and understanding and building people up and making today the best that I can make it, and help inspire people to continue to strive to be better in their own lives. That ultimately is how we're going to positively affect the most change in not only our personal lives but in our country as well. Jacqueline, you are hilarious. You are not kidding, Jacqueline. I know you're not. Come on now.
I think we could use a summer of love. I don't know about you, man, but we could use one. I think a great loving of spiritual awakening. Let's do it.
I think we're there. We're coming up on that point. We're coming up on that point where I think people are going to get more and more tired of seeing all the unrest and seeing all of these things, and hopefully we choose to respond rather than react to the things that we see. But we are coming up on the 50-minute mark, and John and I wanted to finish today's show in the same way that we started PRISM in the first place. So, John Lee, take it from here.
All right. So I would like to do a short prayer. And I would love for anyone who prays to join in with me. If you don't pray, by all means, share, use the light of the words. You can mute this if you want. Mainly what we want to pray for today is understanding across the board, because really we're not going to get anywhere with this. We're not going to get anywhere with this until we can understand what we are combating. And it's not just what we see on the media. It's talking about that human element that we have. So if you don't mind, I'd love for you to join me for a prayer. Pat, I assume that you're going to do some internal guru meditation type techniques, right?
Yeah, I will be meditating as I often do. So I think it's important that people know that meditation isn't the weird thing that people think it is. It's literally about going within and quieting your thoughts and allowing yourself to be in this exact moment. And that is what I'm going to do.
All right. You guys are ready? Mute this if this bothers you. Let us pray. Lord, our Father, Jesus, in heaven we beseech you to shine your light down upon us with the light of understanding, the light of compassion, and the light of tolerance. We know, Lord, that you must be sad to see your children in this disarray, in this hatred, in this darkness. And we appeal to you that we are ready, as your vessels, to accept your guidance. We beseech you to bestow this understanding, this greater compassion, to not only us, but all peoples of the world. to allow us to complete your works, to allow us to unify in the spirit of goodness that you have fostered in our world. We see the darkness on all sides. We see the hatred and the anger and the destruction. We weep with you, O Lord, and we ask for you to give us the tools so that we may alleviate the suffering of our people, not just the American people, but the entire race of humanity. Allow us, Lord, to be your vessels of tolerance. Allow us to be your mouthpieces of kindness and compassion and mercy. Allow us to put aside our own personal obstructions so that we may better revel in love and mercy that you have taught us, that you have encouraged in us, and that you protect. Lord, we ask that you allow us and empower us to become the flickering flame of our each individual small candles in the darkness at large. In exchange, we offer you our hearts, we offer you our minds, we offer you our bodies, our strength, our willpower, and our own compassion to accomplish this. Lord, look here, for we are ready. We are ready to help you create the world you have promised, to help you create the world you know that humanity is bound for. In all of these things, we ask and beseech you, we beg and beseech you, our God, our Lord, Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Prism Watchers. Thank you, America. Thank you, Patrick.
You're welcome. Nicole, to answer your question, I focus on my breath. That is the best way I have found to quiet my thoughts. I focus on in and out, in and out. And I've trained myself over a very, very long time that the moment I start to take these breaths, my thoughts automatically start to slow. And as far as like listening to John, I hear his words, and but I don't interact with them in my head. I just allow them to be what they are, and I allow them to I just observe them from a place without thought, without questions. Just allow. That is exactly. I'd just like to add one thing to your prayer, John, and that is for all of you guys as well. Please continue to pray for the Pope family. I know I will be, and I know that I know that I will be. So please continue to pray for the Pope family. That's all I ask. With that being said, I love you guys. I really do, and I appreciate every single one of you. And please help us grow our family. We've got an exciting week coming up. There's some things that you guys don't know about yet that we'll be talking about tomorrow. I probably will be live again later today because I'm going to try to get Logan on a live with us so we can all see him and see the look on his face, because I know that that's something I need right now.
Absolutely. A little joy would go a long way with our people right now.
And, we'll be talking tomorrow about what we got coming up for the week. And again, it's a holiday, so I know a lot of you guys will be home tomorrow. So tune in and see what we got going on. We might do a special show just because you guys are all going to be home. So
we can ask Shirley, we can ask the popes if they'd be okay with receiving some correspondence from some of the breathers.
Yeah, I don't know them personally, you guys. I'm just a guy that went out there and helped try to find him. I felt very, very compelled to do so, and I couldn't sit at home and do nothing. I had to try to help. So I'm I don't know how to get in touch with them, and I'm pretty sure that they're probably inundated right now. I know you guys want to help, and that is amazing. And if I do get in contact with them, I will let you guys know. So,
if all else fails, where they hosted the candlelight vigil and things like that, it's possible for us to bring our correspondence there, so to speak.
yeah,
So that way, you know, that would free up the family to be able to decide for themselves if this is something that they want to, you know, just so you know. But
thank
we'll
you,
look into it.
and you're welcome. You know, as we don't just do, we do this every week for all of us, right? It's not just for you guys; it's for us too. It's important to reflect. It's important to go within. It's important to embrace the light in the world, not the darkness. And every day we're going to keep, doing everything we can to inspire you guys to be a little bit better every day.
Absolutely.
And for those of you that are watching today, or this is the first time you've seen us, we do a lot of different things, and there's a lot of different ways to help and get involved. And just know that Breathe America is a whole lot different than people think. It is more than just a Facebook group. We are a family. We help each other. We stand with each other, and we build each other up. And that golden rule is a big one for me, and it's how I deal with almost every situation in my life. I don't think
Spread
there's
joy. Absolutely, surely.
there's a GoFundMe set up for the Pope family, and I don't think there's actually going to be.
Not sure what that's going on.
I don't think they're going to do one, from what I understand. I think at this point they probably just want to mourn in peace. There have been thousands of people out helping to try to find him when he went missing, and so yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I don't think they're going to set up a GoFundMe. I think they're going to go very private, and I for one want to respect that.
Sure.
So, but that being said, you guys be a little bit better today than you were yesterday. Have an amazing day. Do something kind for yourself. Do something kind for others. Love each other. Love yourself. Build yourself up, you guys. We are the change. We are. And it comes from within first. And I love you guys. Have an amazing day.